Hey Canucks fans, JT Miller's agent said there's a realistic path for an extension with the Canucks. Let's talk about it. I'm Canuck Clay. This is my Canucks take on One Take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Wednesday, July the 20th. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. Don't forget, tonight, my live stream at 10 p.m. is for members only. I will post that link on my membership tab sometime this afternoon, so I hope all members will join me tonight at 10 p.m. for my live stream. And stick to the end of this video if you want to hear about what happened in my big do-or-die roller hockey playoff game last night. Okay, this is my promise to you, all of you loyal viewers of this channel. This will be the last time that I speak about the JT Miller contract situation unless there's a significant development, okay? I get it. I've been talking about it a lot. I do it because it's the biggest story facing the Canucks right now, and there's an interesting angle to it today. But I promise that I will not talk about it for the sake of talking about it going forward. I will only talk about it after today if there's some significant developments. But today, I wouldn't say it's a significant development. It's an important one. In The Athletic, Harman Dayal did a great piece updating the situation after discussing with both GM Patrick Allvin and JT Miller's agent, Brian Bartlett. And this is what Brian Bartlett said, the agent for JT Miller. He said that there is a realistic path for extension. Said JT Miller has never asked out of Vancouver. He likes how the team is improving. He loves the city, and his family likes it here. I may have got some of the likes and loves mixed up, but basically he mentioned those three things: that he likes the team or loves the team's improving, that he likes the city or loves the city, and that his family enjoys the situation here. Now, Bartlett did go on to say that it's got to be a fair deal, obviously, and that it takes two to tango, using all of those kind of analogies or whatever. And Bartlett, as his agent, is probably doing the proper thing. I'm maybe behind closed doors, he's asking for the moon. I don't know this for sure. Maybe he's asking for a lot, and maybe the Canucks already know that they aren't going to be able to meet Miller's contract demands or the contract demands through the agent. That could very well be the case right now, but at least publicly, both sides are saying the right thing. JT Miller's agent says he hasn't ruled out a return to Vancouver. In fact, he would like to. He didn't say he'd prefer to stay here, but it's not like he's against staying here, of course, given a fair contract. And Patrick Allvin saying all the right things, saying they want to get it done before the end of the summer, so they don't have to worry about it during the season. But they're willing to worry about it during the season, even willing to go all the way up to the trade deadline. So you guys know, leading up to the draft, last weeks of June, first week of July, and then not only the draft on July 7, 8, but then free agency July 13, all the talk was around the Canucks are going to move JT Miller. He was linked to certain teams, Islanders on draft day, a lot of things going on, but there's nothing ever substantiated. There's nothing ever confirmed. And I admit, and I've admit this a couple times on this channel because I've been talking about it so much, that I got caught up in the hype, and I even did vlogs talking about not disappointment, but surprise that he was still a Canuck after the draft. Surprise that he was still a Canuck after free agency started. And I talked about how I thought the leverage point was the biggest at the draft. I talked about that after day one of free agency, a lot of windows are closing around the league. Everyone's spending their money. Everyone's starting to set their roster. So basically that the number of suitors would be fewer and fewer, especially if you keep Miller throughout the season. And then at the trade deadline, maybe you only have a few suitors left. Then I talked about the risk of JT Miller not having a 99-point season, maybe even getting injured, and therefore his value goes down throughout the season. So I've talked about all that before. You guys know that. And you guys have helped contribute to some really good discussions here on this channel. But what an interesting part of Harman's article this morning is the agent basically saying that the player's leverage goes up as the season goes on. And I agree with that, actually. The player's leverage goes up because it'll look more and more, the closer you get to trade deadline, it'll look more and more, I say the leverage will go up with respect to JT Miller and the Canucks, because it'll look more and more likely that he is not going to extend the closer you get to the trade deadline. So then he can up his asking price and basically, I don't know, say force his way out, but really the ball will be in his court. So that's why another reason for the Canucks is another good reason for the Canucks to try and negotiate an extension by the end of the summer or by the start of the season for sure. And it's funny, in talking about, what can the return be? At least 3 or 4 assets, a pick, a prospect, and a roster player. And I kind of use the Kevin Fiala example as potential return. But I haven't spent enough time talking about what happens if the Canucks do actually retain JT Miller. Not just, I've talked about for this season, what it might look like, and how stacked our forwards are, especially compared to last year, with the additions of Kuzmenko, Mikheyev, and Lazar. With Kuzmenko and Mikheyev especially, now you have a really bona fide top 9, and you can bump guys like Pearson and Hoglander down to the bottom, the fourth line. But that's for another video. What I haven't really explored, and I don't think it makes sense to do it yet, is what would a extension for JT Miller look like, and what would the lineup look like if he's in. And then I guess the biggest question is, if you want to sign JT Miller for a long-term extension, say 5, 6, 7 years. The team, though, isn't going to be competitive during his prime years, which you could argue was last year or maybe this year and next year at the most. If you're getting prime JT Miller last season and the next 2 seasons, is that capitalizing on his prime? Because is the team in its prime? And if the team itself, if Alvin is admitting and Rutherford's admitting it's going to be a 2 or 3 year rebuilding process, you want your best players in their prime when your team's in their prime. But what we're seeing is potentially a mismatch. Is Miller's in his prime right now, but the Canucks are not. And the Canucks won't be in their prime, ready to win, ready to make a run for the Cup for another 2 or 3 years potentially when Miller's on the tail end of his career. So that's the tricky part. But of course, Miller's going to want more money than he's making right now, $5.25 million, which is a steal, a great value on that contract. And if the rumors are true that it's Benajad money, type money, Hurdle type money, $8.5 million, then you're really in a pickle because you're trying to figure out, does this money make sense spending on a guy who's on the other side of 30 when the team isn't going to be competitive for a couple of years? So those are the kind of questions that you need to ask, and that's kind of the pressure points as to why the contract negotiation is so important. So I vow to you that I will not talk about this anymore until there's significant movement or developments, but I will ask you one more time in the comments below, sound off, what do you think the Canucks should do with JT Miller? Let's do it one more time. Let's run it back. What do you think the Canucks should do with JT Miller? And if you want to add to what do you think will happen with JT Miller, especially if your answers are different, I'd be open to reading that as well. Finally, hockey game. We lost 4-3 in double overtime. So if you're keeping score at home, last week we lost to one team 7-6 in triple overtime. It's double elimination. Then we lost to another team last night 4-3 in double overtime. So now our official season has ended. This was unfortunate because we finished second in our pool, tied for first actually, yet we lost to the third place and then the fourth place teams. We were missing our best defenseman. No excuses. We just simply did not. We were not the better team last night, and it's really unfortunate, but the season is indeed over. But thanks for following the Holy Rollers updates. You had to do that because I'm not bowling in the summer, at least in the league. So instead of bowling updates, you're getting roller hockey updates. Okay, friends, shout out to my sponsors, Perform and Transform, personal training and weight loss at Advanced City Experts Real Estate Group. Also, don't forget $15 off any pair of vesties. Use my code CanuckClay on vestie.com. And then thank you to legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Just Incredible, legendary Andrew Chang, and to Hall of Fame and franchise members as well. Don't forget, we have a special live stream just for you tonight at 10 p.m. Finally, if you made it this far in the video, 9 minutes in, simply write in the word off season. Off season, because the Canucks are in their off season, and unfortunately my roller hockey team is in its off season as well. Subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to, leave a tip, a super thanks if you'd like to, become a member or upgrade if you'd like to, and leave a comment down below if you'd like to. What do you think is going to happen with JT Miller? What do you want to happen with JT Miller? Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Have a great day. God bless, and go Canucks go.